everyone, and welcome to this video. Ruba Zanaid is here, and throughout this video I will walk you through a 4-step process in order to release and let go of negative thoughts by the end of every day. I want to explain a little bit about the paint behind me. It is in New York City, and actually I visited New York City last summer and I just fall in love with that city. Although it's loud, it's quick, it's fast, but I loved it. So I love having that paint behind me here. So let's get into 4-step process into how to let go of negative thoughts by end of every day. Why is it important? Because it's easy to say, I let go of it, I'm fine, but those little negative thoughts really, they sit into your mind and they affect the way you act the next day. They affect your productivity, they affect the way you respond. They will show up in different forms like frustration or responding quickly. So let's go over some of the negative thoughts that can pass through your mind. You know, a negative comment that you've heard, that sad experience, that sad memory that had passed through your mind, things like that. So the very first step that you can do is acknowledge it. Be clear on what are those negative thoughts that are going on in your mind. It's easy to say, I'm just tired, I'm just overwhelmed, I'm exhausted. But in reality, there are few things that had happened, a few thoughts that are been going on into your mind. And the more you are clear on them, even write them down, this is your first step into letting them go. All right, step number 2, which is owning them. What does that mean? Meaning accepting them, being okay with those negative thoughts. And I know that some of you might go, how would I accept or be okay with this, although it's very negative? Well, here's the thing. When you accept it the way it is, you will take away that power from that negative thought that it has on you. You are not afraid of it anymore. You make almost, when you own it, you're very in almost a knowing with it that it has no power over you anymore. And there is an example that I put here. For example, you do say, I just get tired so easily, forget about that morning walk. Instead, so you see how it affects the way you're going to behave and act and ultimately your results. And instead of that, you will say, yes, I do get tired easily now, but I know that because I'm doing something out of my comfort zone. So I will start by doing 10 to 15 minutes twice a week, and then for a couple of weeks, and then I will build on that moving forwards. So you see how you kind of like redirect that by owning that thought. You know, just meet yourself at that step. You do not have to figure out the whole thing. It's just meet yourself there by owning your thought. Another example, someone in the workspace, for example, will tell you that you're very slow on this project. You know, if you let this go inside of you, it will create self-doubt. So instead, by owning it, you know, yes, I'm slow now, but I know that I can find a way to accelerate the process and to have things moving. So that's step number 2, which is owning that negative thought. Step number 3 is claiming your responsibility. When you do that, you're in a powerful position. You're not the victim anymore. And of course, there is a huge difference between both. And, you know, I put an example here. When you say, this was a horrible experience, I'm just going to live like this for the rest of my life. You know, sometimes our minds takes us miles and miles away into the future trying to figure out everything. Now, instead, yes, this was a horrible, a difficult experience, but I will give myself the time, the efforts. I will equip myself with what I need in order to explore answers, explore solutions, and bringing them into my reality. So that's when you become more in responsibility of your outcome. So that's step number 3. Now, step number 4 is you're going to affirm the way that you're heading now. You're heading into positivity because you took away the power from that negative thought by acknowledging first, by owning it second, and then by claiming your own responsibility. Now, let's affirm in step number 4 this positive direction that you are taking. And there are examples here. I'm capable of doing the right steps that will get me to being more confident, more productive, more powerful, which is, it is right for you. And along with that, with affirming this positive direction, I invite you also to envision the outcome of that. So what happens when you take those right steps in order to become more powerful or more productive or more confident? Envision the outcome and give your imagination a few moments to envision this outcome. Sit there for a few moments and come back. The second example is I'm capable of finding, learning, and practicing new refreshing ways of communicating with my family members, for example. And this is huge. And then envision the outcome of practicing those new refreshing ways. There is more calm, there is more peace, there is more happiness, there is more joy. Envision that and have it vividly in your mind, and then come back. So by practicing this step number 4 and all the steps with it, you're affirming by specifically by step number 4, you're affirming this positive direction that you're taking to bring in those positive results into your life. And this way, it's very important, like you're ending your day on a positive note. You're going to sleep in a calm state of mind, and at the same time you're giving yourself that dose of hope to wake up next day in the morning not thinking about the past, not going into those records of the past. You're giving yourself a step forwards into the future, into the next day and what's possible.